Hi! Hello everyone, this is Aegon of Astora, and welcome back to my blind playthrough of Elden Ring. This is episode number 61, being recorded on Friday the 14th of July, 2023. I hope you're all having a fantastic day whenever it is you find yourself watching this. So, I have quite a list of notes here, and I'm not sure if I will even get through everything here in this introductory segment, but might as well start going through everything. It's obviously been about 2.5 or maybe 3 weeks since I recorded the previous episode because I was away, but I'm now back. So yeah, obviously there have been lots of thoughts percolating in my mind, and yeah, I'd like to begin this episode by talking about some of them. But before we even got to that, there's a specific reason why we decided to start the episode here. And that is, I was looking at, obviously normally I cut out loading screens and whatnot, but I'm going to not cut any of this out just so you can see what I saw when I was getting ready to record this episode. So, usually when I'm getting ready to record the episode, I have it on the title screen here. I do my sound checks and all of that, and then I go into the game and so on and so forth. And, something I've said that I've wanted to do for a while is to look at the various great runes that we have and compare it to the sort of Elden Ring logo. And, that's still something I intend to do and plan to do. On the bottom is the rune arc. I'm not just gonna do it now because I don't actually have a good enough memory of what all the different runes look like, but I do know that on the bottom that's the rune arc. That's where it keeps the Elden Ring from spilling out, I guess. I'm not sure exactly how it was described in the item description, but it serves as a bowl, so to speak, a container, a vessel for whatever the power is that's associated with the great rune you have equipped. So that makes sense. And then, yeah, there are 4 runes in the middle there. There's another one at the top. I don't know if we've seen that one yet, or, if we're aware of who that belongs to. And there's this sort of grid pattern in between the 3 runes in the middle and the one with the long line and the rune arc at the bottom. And I was sitting here at the title screen and I was like, oh my gosh, that's Radagon. That's the pattern that we see on the Radagon statue. So let's load up the game now and see if perhaps I'm out to lunch on that. It's weird talking through loading screens. I've trained myself to not speak through loading screens, so that's a very strange sensation for me. Indeed. So that must be Radagon's rune. Which is, of course, a fair bit different. It's quite different than any of the other runes we've seen. Let's have a look at some of them. Or are they in key items? They're in key items. Okay, so wow, yeah, we do have a fair number of runes, but we don't have... I'm going to assume that rune at the top of the logo belongs to Queen Marika or something like that. But they all have more or less the same design. A circle and a dash. Rykard's Great Rune is sort of wobbly a little bit, the circle, and I'm cognizant of the fact that I'm sure there are many people out there who have already sorted all of this out, and I'm just sort of retreading ground that others have already thoroughly covered. But all the same, I do find it interesting. Great Rune of the Unborn. So this was Renala's. Affects those who have been born anew. Still, I'm not clear on what that actually is supposed to do. So, Malenia's Great Rune and the Great Rune of the Unborn are basically the same. as with Rykard's and Radon's. Okay, so maybe there's a reason for this in the family tree that I've constructed. So this was one of the items on my list that I wanted to talk about. And, you know, this is obviously still a work in progress, but I did show a family tree that I was working on many episodes ago. I don't know, 10, 15, 20 episodes ago. It's bonkers to me that this episode is now at 61 episodes, but yeah. And at the top of and you know, I was thinking also about the whole idea of a family tree itself, and obviously I'm getting off track already, but the idea that a family tree is a way that we use to talk about genealogy and how, yeah, it's just quite interesting to me that it's all about roots and things sort of extending, although, you know, the way I've presented this one is it extends downward, but you could also present it as extending upwards. But anyways, again, off track. So on the top left, we have Godfrey and Queen Marika, whose child, at least the only child I'm aware of. So there's Godwyn the Golden, Godwyn the Golden and Prince of Death. I think that's the only child we know of between the two of them. But yeah, I could be wrong about that. But Queen Marika is also married to King Consort Radagon, second Elden Lord. And they together gave birth to Mikola and Melania, Blade of Mikola and Goddess of Rot. I'm not sure what Mikola's title is. And we also learned that King Consort Radagon was once married to Queen Rinola of the Full Moon, and gave birth, that the two of them gave birth to, well, really it was Rinola and Marika who gave birth presumably, but they conceived together Lunar Princess Rani the Witch, General Radon, and Praetor Rykard. And the reason why we have some of these squares are green and others are orange is that the orange squares correspond to those we know to be Empyreans. So yeah, and then we have 4 additional, and these are at least 3 of those are shard bearers at the bottom, who I just don't know where to place these people. We know that Blythe the Half-Wolf is a stepbrother to Lunar Princess Rani the Witch, but yeah, I'm not sure how that fits into this family tree, but I figured I would sort of simplify it for now anyway, because all of the sort of demigods are associated with, or, you know, at least as far as we're aware, Godfrey, Queen Marika, Radagon, and Queen Rinola. So yeah, anyways. Okay, so now looking at this. So Rykard's Great Rune. It's very similar to the Radon's, which makes sense because they're siblings. So, okay, so the Great Rune we don't have here is Rinola's, of course. Unless you consider the Rune of Death, but I don't think that's on. Used to restore the fractured Elden Ring when branched by the Elden Lord. Okay, so, yeah. We have quite a few key items that we still need to figure out what the heck we're supposed to do with. Hold on 1 second, I'm going to take a sip of my coffee here. As usual, it's very early, and I've barely slept, so you'll have to forgive me for this first segment, which is sure to be quite meandering. When I wrote these notes, I was in a much more lucid state than I am now, so, and all of this, none of this is in my notes, by the way. The rune thing, I just, when preparing for the episode, as I mentioned, thought it would be something interesting to look at. So Melania's Great Rune. We don't have any sense of what Mikola's Great Rune looks like, and we don't have any sense of what Queen Marika or King Consort Radagon's Great Rune looks like. So Melania's Great Rune, you can obviously see the flowers and everything there. But yeah, we're just sort of groping around in the dark for now. But yeah, it makes sense as to why, anyways, why Radon and Rykard's runes look the same, because they're siblings. Morga's Great Rune and Mohg's Great Rune. So these two, I think, also make sense, because even though I'm not sure what the heck to born of the golden lineage, and that he was indeed the Lord of Leyndell. So I assume that means Morgott is also a child of Godfrey and Marika. Its blessing grants blessing of blood to okay, so that answers my question. When I was making the family tree, I was not looking at the game. I sketched it out when I was on vacation on a notepad. So Mohg and Morgott are twin brothers. Their great runes are naturally similar. So might have to modify this later. Probably won't do it for this episode. But my assumption then is that Mohg and Morgott are the younger siblings of Godwyn. And again, they're siblings, so their great runes look very similar. So yeah, anyways, that's that. And Godric's great rune being sort of a weird amalgamation of different great runes. The first demigods were the Elden Lord Godfrey and his offspring, the golden lineage. So indeed, confirming then that Morgott and Mohg are in fact offspring, but we know that Godric is a distant relation, so I don't know what that means. Gosh darn it. Okay, yeah. We're not really any closer to figuring this out than we were at the beginning of this conversation. So yeah, let us return to my notes. So yeah, as I mentioned, I just got back from my trip to British Columbia, where I was visiting my in-laws, and yeah, already missing it. Already missing my in-laws and my mother-in-law's cooking, and the family in general, and the beautiful natural landscapes of British Columbia. And this is, I think, something I've talked about before. Obviously, I did my doctoral research in British Columbia, so it's a place that is very sort of near and dear to me, and a region of the country and of the globe that I'm quite fond of. And on this trip to British Columbia, in playing Elden Ring and thinking about the story of the game, and, anytime I have time off and I'm not able to record, I'm still thinking about the story of the game. Although, I will say it was great to have 2 weeks off, and I do feel, even though I'm very tired at the moment, I feel quite re-energized as a result of our trip and the time off, even though, obviously, with Aurelia of Astora, it was not a walk in the park, although she did much, much better than I was expecting her to with the flight and everything. But again, getting off track. So yeah, when I went to BC, I was thinking a lot about trees and the natural landscape and the history of colonialism in the region. And yeah, this really came out. I mentioned Aurelia of Astora just now. I spent a lot of time walking around with Aurelia of Astora, just taking her on walks, and during that time, it's a lot of, I mentioned in episode, it would have been episode 29, the last sort of gap in recording that I had, which was several months as opposed to several weeks. And during that time, I had a lot of idle time, just sort of hanging out with Aurelia of Astora, bouncing her to sleep, stuff like that. And this was a similar case where, I'm just taking her out on walks, we're just relaxing. I, talk to her about the different things that I'm seeing. Try to, don't know how much of that she's actually absorbing, but just doing what I can to try and teach her about the world. And in doing so, what, actually, for this segment, I think what I'll do is I'm going to pass it over to Aegon of Astora of the past. So, Aegon, take it away.
Thanks, Aegon of the future. Hello, this is Aegon of the past. It's a stupid joke. I shouldn't even bother with this. I'm reasonably certain that the audio for this segment is not going to be good, so I might end up not using this, in which case there's no point in me telling you this, but I'm telling you that anyway. But yeah, I've been taking Aurelia of Astora on some walks and had some thoughts about some of the trees that I've seen, and so I figured I might as well share them with you all. I was thinking about in episode 59, where I mentioned that there was a tree in front of the house where I grew up that got cut down by the city. And the reason why it got cut down by the city was in part because the tree was rotting, but also because the tree had become a risk to the infrastructure of the neighborhood. There was the risk that the tree could fall down and hit a house. There was a risk that The tree could take out electrical wires. So there are a variety of risks associated with having that tree there, which evidently outweighed the benefits of having a beautiful tree there to take care of your neighborhood, or to take care of your neighborhood too. Of having a beautiful tree there, which makes your neighborhood look more beautiful, is what I meant to say there. And one of the things that I love, absolutely adore about the Greater Vancouver area is the way that the natural landscape is in fact built into the design of the city and the neighborhoods. And so this is actually the city of Coquitlam, which is a suburb of Vancouver. And yeah, some very massive trees. I'm not sure that I can adequately compare this to the trees in front of my house from when I was growing up. It's really hard to say, because obviously I have a memory of the tree, but the memory of the tree is not accurate. It's, you know, I can't immediately compare it. I can't accurately compare it, I should say, to the size of the trees here. But this row of trees is what I noticed when going out on these walks with the Raya of Astora. And just, they're towering trees. And a feature about this I found quite interesting is that you can see in front of this row of trees here, there's actually a fence. And my initial thought was that the fence was there to protect pedestrians from the traffic. Because as you can see, this is quite a busy street. Cars are zooming by constantly. And so my first thought was, okay, that fence is there to protect pedestrians. And you can see here, even on this side of the street, there's also a fence. But as you can see, it's not actually here to protect pedestrians. It's on this side. So it's protecting the houses and the infrastructure here. Although oddly, this pole is on the other side of the fence, so I'm not sure that I can explain that. However, you look here on the other side of the street, and it's the same thing. The fence isn't there to protect pedestrians, it's there to protect the trees. However, there's a reason for that. I don't believe that it's there to protect the trees for the trees' sake. I believe it's there to protect the trees from the cars, and in turn, to protect the trees from taking out power lines, from falling on houses. And so again, we build nature into the design of our cities and our neighborhoods. However, we only tolerate it to a certain extent. Once it gets to the point where the trees have become a nuisance for our electrical infrastructure, once they become too great a risk that they might fall on a house or something, then we decide, okay, whatever, we're done, we're gonna cut it down and be done with it. And yeah, you can see just with this fence here, again, it's not there to protect pedestrians. It's on the other side of the sidewalk. It's there to protect the trees, but really only to protect the trees from damaging the houses. And you can see a little bit further on, there's this massive one here. But again, I don't believe it's there to protect the trees for the tree's sake, but it's there because, like, the size of this tree could destroy a house on either side of the street. So anyways, that's my spiel. I could probably talk about a variety of other trees in the neighborhood here and just sort of go around and talk about my thoughts on all of them. I'm not a city planner. My wife is a city planner, but I'm not. So obviously I don't really know what I'm talking about. This is mostly just speculation. You know, I'm not a botanist or anything like that. So I'm not sure specifically what the term would be for someone who actually does study trees. But yeah, I was walking around with the Raya of Astora, had some thoughts, just ideas percolating in my head, thinking more about trees thanks to Elden Ring. Thinking more about tree stories, the idea of tree stories. When we were talking about Agora Path of Light earlier in the series, we were, one of the displays, one of the exhibits for Agora talked about how we don't actually come up with stories ourselves. We're not, that we borrow stories from the earth. And that makes sense when you think about trees especially. That story I told about the tree, that's a tree story. I borrowed that story from the earth. I didn't come up with that, it's not something that sort of just emerged from me. It was a story that emerged through my interaction with the tree growing up, or intra-action, I should say, if we're keeping with Karen Broad's notion of responsibility. But yeah, anyways, I'm rambling now, so I'll hand it back over to Aegon of Sora of the future. Although for you guys, for you all watching, Aegon of Astora of the video you're watching, it's all Aegon of Astora of the past. So I don't know why I'm drawing this distinction, but anyways, I'm gonna get away from this busy road, and yeah, I'll talk to you all later. So back over to Aegon of Astora of the future, for me anyways. Okay, bye.
Well, thank you very much, Aegon of the past. I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you for giving me a chance to drink some coffee and to warp to a new location, because again, thinking about trees and about how they factor into the story and how they factor into the stories we tell in our world, in the IRL, as it were, in real life. And before I get further into that, one thing I did want to note is when I was walking, again, apologies for the audio in that segment. Obviously, I'm, not walking around with my microphone or anything. That was sort of a very impromptu thing. I was not prepared to do that. And so I was just sort of recording with my phone. But, I mentioned in that brief spiel that one thing I love about British Columbia and about the Greater Vancouver area is the extent to which the natural landscape is accounted for, and there's a place for the natural landscape and how they design and build and operate their cities. However, it's sort of, I don't want to say I'm giving the city planners there too much credit. However, one thing about British Columbia and the particular time when, they settled the region, when the region was settled by Europeans. Of course, there were many indigenous societies and nations in the region prior to settlement of the region, but the region of British Columbia, the province of British Columbia, was settled at a much later date than the rest of Canadian Confederation. And the reason for that is in part because the natural landscape is so ever present, and it's so, runs counter to basically everything about how it is we understand, how it is that those who were settling lands and building cities in that time period, they wanted flat land, they wanted land that they could just sort of, map a grid onto and then build a city in that way, in this sort of scientific mathematical fashion. And you can't do that in BC. Too many mountains, too many trees, too much nature. And so, in that brief segment, I said, oh yeah, it's really great how they build the natural landscape into the city. But in fact, they really had to build the city around the natural landscape, and they did that. And of course, they could have just clear-cut everything, and to some degree they did. But, it's part of what is wonderful about being there is, more or less everywhere you turn, there's a massive mountain in the distance. And it's just such a tremendous thing for someone who has spent the vast majority of his life in Ontario, where there are basically no mountains. It's just such a wonderful experience. But so all of that is to say, nature is everywhere. And of course, nature and culture are entangled, and they're entangled everywhere. But that is especially apparent in British Columbia. And so, yeah, that's my spiel, I think, on trees and infrastructure in BC. But all of this has me thinking about Mikala. And the whole idea of Mikala and the Halig tree. Mikala also has a ring, actually, something I did not notice previously. Suppose I should have checked to make sure we can't interact with the Aegon anyway, which I don't think we can. Can't call torrent either. So yeah, Mikala. And the whole notion that Mikala Oh, hold on 1 second, actually. Oh, thanks for the rating, friends. Oh, gosh darn it. It looks like there's an invisible wall there. Oh, gosh darn you. Likely God, but didn't expect out of stamina. That's a good one. Okay, anyways. All of this has me thinking about Miquella, and about the idea that Miquella was meant to be embedded in the Halig tree. And this had got me thinking about A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones. Where the heck is my... I don't know where this beacon is. Where did I set a beacon? Gosh darn it, we're off to a tremendous start. I'm getting distracted by the smallest, most insignificant things. Okay, there's a beacon set somewhere, but I don't know where. So, Miquella, and the idea that Miquella is supposed to be embedded in the Halig tree, and that the Lord of Blood, Mohg, took Miquella and brought him here in an attempt to ascend him to be a god. Oh, so this must be, oh, it's grim. This must be the wedding ring. Provided this is this Miquella's left hand? No, it's Miquella's right hand. I don't know if the custom is the same here, but at least in Western culture, wedding rings, I believe, are typically worn, at least I wear mine on my left ring finger. But I don't know if it's just a handedness thing. But yeah, Miquella was taken here by Luminary Mohg, the Lord of Blood, who wanted to ascend Miquella to godhood so that Mohg could then... What was it? Exactly what was said. I believe it was with the item that we got, or that we could craft. Oh no, okay. To take the role of monarch. Okay, so because Mohg is already a demigod, so I was going to say raise Mohg to the status of demigod, but no, raise Mohg to the status of monarch. So yeah, so that got me thinking about A Song of Ice and Fire and Game of Thrones, because of course, you know, again, George R. R. Martin's influence and involvement in this game, because there's a lot of stuff in A Song of Ice and Fire about trees, and in particular about the Weirwood trees, which I mentioned in an earlier episode, that there is a character named Bloodraven, for instance, who is embedded in a Weirwood tree, or in the roots of a Weirwood tree. And so it just got me thinking about sort of precedents and whatnot. And you know, after the finale of Game of Thrones, and the last few seasons of Game of Thrones, I was such a huge A Song of Ice and Fire junkie. I had consumed absolutely everything I possibly could in relation to the series. But, you know, sadly, after the train wreck that was the last few seasons of Game of Thrones, I really sort of fell off in my fandom. So when thinking about these things and talking about these things, I have to rely on those who actually sort of are still in it and who have done their research. And so in that spirit, I went and looked up a video. Just wanted to watch some videos about Weirwood trees just to sort of refresh my memory about their significance in the story. And I came across a tremendous video, which I'll leave a link to in the description below, called What Do the Weirwood Trees Want? By a YouTuber named In Deep Geek. And so, again, I'll leave a link to it in the video description below. I know I usually show short clips from videos, but I'm not going to do that here just because, yeah, I highly suggest that you go and watch the video yourself, because you'll, I think, immediately see some of the parallels to the story in Elden Ring. But I do have a few notes here gleaned from that video, things I found interesting in relation to the story of Elden Ring. And there was a comment from someone in relation to this first note, not explicitly, but someone mentioned earlier, I think, that George R. R. Martin apparently has a weird thing with hands and fingers, and that, you know, if you search the A Song of Ice and Fire books, you'll find just an obscene number of references to hands and fingers. So, like, I don't know if that's just a thing for him, but yeah, the leaves of the Weirwood tree are essentially hands, which is to say, someone asked George R. R. Martin, what does a Weirwood tree leaf look like? They're blood red leaves, essentially, and he said if you took a hand and traced around it, then that would be a Weirwood tree leaf. So essentially, the Weirwood tree leaves are hands. And of course, there's a specific reason for that, is that the Weirwood trees are a network, effectively a hive mind, of the children of the forest, or as they call themselves, those who sing the song of the earth. And so the Weirwood trees are a hive mind comprised of those who have essentially returned to roots, the children of the forest, or again, those who sing the song of the earth, because they are more or less almost entirely extinct by the time the story of A Song of Ice and Fire begins, at least in terms of the book A Game of Thrones, that particular timeline in the story. Because obviously it goes back several hundred years, and George R. R. Martin is doing anything he can to avoid going forward, and everything he's doing is about fleshing out the backstory and the side stories. But anyways, I digress already. So that was the first thing that I found really interesting, or the first and the second thing. So the hive mind thing, and then the leaves are hands. So essentially the not so subtle sort of indication, like this tree is made up of the consciousnesses of, you know, a bunch of people, a bunch of those who sing the songs of the earth. And songs is another thing in A Song of Ice and Fire, which, you know, it's literally in the name of the series, A Song of Ice and Fire. Songs are another thing that's very significant, which, yeah, I won't talk about today just because I'm not really prepared to talk about it, but maybe we'll return to that topic in a future episode. So essentially, in the story of A Song of Ice and Fire, and in the Game of Thrones television series, you see, for instance, Bran Stark, is connected in some way to the Weirwood trees. And so by virtue of his connection to the Weirwood trees, Bran can see through the eyes of those who have returned to roots, of the those who sing the songs of the earth of the past, and the things they've seen, the things they've done, the places they've been. And by virtue of that, he can travel through space and time. He can alter the course of events in history, and, you know, it creates a whole series of potential time travel paradoxes. But again, we're getting off track, and maybe that's something we'll return to in a later episode. But the last thing that I found really interesting, and the last point I'm going to make before we move on, because I'm just sort of meandering here, so I apologize for that, but something that the In Deep Geek noted in this episode was that these trees don't require what normal trees do to grow and thrive. Normal trees require sunlight, they require water, they require root space, they require, good earth to be, they're planted in good earth, and they have lots of space to grow. That's what normal trees require. The Weirwood trees, as In Deep Geek said, and this is a direct quote, they need sacrifice and blood. So, or at least I think that's a direct quote. I have quotation marks here, but they require sacrifice and blood. Indeed. So, is that what the Halig tree required? And so is that why Mikola being here is... And so Mikola being here, is that the cause of the Halig tree going rotten or rotting from the inside? The way I framed it in the previous episode or the episode prior was that the tree was rotting, and so Mikola was sort of going to sacrifice himself to save the tree. However, it may just be that that's what the tree needs to grow and thrive, and that there was some other... So I guess, in the same way, it's more or less saying the same thing. And so Mikola being taken away from the tree sort of sealed its fate. The tree was going to rot. The scarlet rot presumably was going to spread everywhere, or I guess at least it spread with millennia. But anyways, again, getting off track. So yeah, that's more or less all I have. I apologize to those who were expecting me to sort of unify everything into a grand theory at this point. But I think we are getting the pieces together slowly but surely. And yeah, I think that's it for this particular segment. Let me just look at my notes now. So again, the next thing on my notes was that I've updated the family tree, so we've just talked about that. Okay, so thinking about the story in general, I suppose, I do have a post-it note here, which I think is probably something I'm going to want to return to, because this is something I scribbled down at like 1 in the morning. I was thinking about this during my trip, and while sort of in the background rewatching an older episode before its release. But in trying to piece together the story and like the various different the various different broader missions at hand. So I have here on the post-it note, again, I'm fumbling over this because I'm not really fully prepared to talk about this, but except just to say I have a sketch in my mind about a future segment that we will want to talk about this, where it just says Destined Death versus Death Restored versus the Flame of Frenzy. So trying to figure out the various different potential endings, I suppose. Keep trying to find, and I guess it makes sense because we're underground, but like there's a light source here, which is apparently, based on the shadow, coming from this direction. But then our face doesn't become illuminated. Anyways, this makes no sense, but of course neither does having stars in an underground location, so I really shouldn't maybe be thinking too deeply about it. But yeah, Destined Death being the sort of mission of the Golden Order. Destined Death being everyone returning to roots. And so the Golden Order wants death to be destined, because then everyone will return to roots, thus strengthening the hive mind. In the same way that, the Weirwood trees, they want more people to be assimilated into the Weirwood network. And in a similar vein, the Golden Order wants everyone to return to roots. Versus Death Restored. So that is the mission of those who live in death. They want to restore death. I still don't fully understand how that relates to the whole undead thing. We did have a comment from someone, and also how it relates to the Flame of Frenzy, and how that differs. So anyways, like I said, I'm still piecing things together. I assume you're not supposed to jump here, right? This guy. Thankfully, they flew so that we could walk. We had a comment from someone who said that in Elden Ring, death is not canonical in the same way that it is in the likes of Dark Souls. I don't know if I buy that. And there are a few reasons for that. The memory first grace, which once guided bygone tarnished to the lands between, lose all runes and return to the last site of great grace visited. It is merely a cycle. Stand before the Elden Ring, become the Elden Lords. So this is basically the dark side of this game. And lose all runes. Okay, so it's the memory. We're sort of cursed with the memory of first grace. And so, I suppose I'll leave open the possibility that death is not canonical. But in my mind, it doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense, because even though we still not worked out the specific lore reasons for that, for a second I thought that looked like Mount Gelmir. Even though we've not worked out the specific lore reasons for that, bosses say things to you after they've killed you. And, we have that, I don't know. I suppose it could be true, but I actually don't believe that. I believe that at the core of every FromSoft game is a story which accounts for the respawning of players. And, the bonfires and all that, or sites of grace and lamps and archstones, whatever. In all of these games, I think that's at the core of what makes a Souls game, which is a game again, this is a topic I keep bringing up and keep saying we'll talk about this more at a later date. I've been doing this for 8 years probably with my idea of what constitutes a Souls game, but part of it is that the story accounts for the respawning of the player, that the player's death is not something that exists outside of the game's story, but is very much embedded within it and is sort of reflected in the story. But yeah, I guess we'll have to sort of continue piecing that together as we go along. But I've been recording for 40 minutes and we've barely gotten anywhere. So I don't know how much that is actually going to make it in the episode because I've just been rambling a lot. So you'll have to forgive me for that. But the next thing I have on my list is, so Real Faceman Guy pointed out that we apparently missed a ton of illusory walls in the Academy of Raya Lucaria. We also had another commenter point out, apologies, I didn't write down who let me know this, that we missed a boss in Sellia, Town of Sorcery, that we might want to check out. And then my remaining notes here are in relation to another comment which said we missed a cave in Deep Root Depths. And this is a note that I sort of gathered for myself, which is that we appear to be missing a dungeon in the capital outskirts because there was a dungeon we were in the capital outskirts, which in the distance, where the heck was it? Oh, capital outskirts are, might have been the old Altus tunnel or the Wyndham catacombs, where there was one of those, or the Altus tunnel, or the St. Idio's grave. It could be any one of these, where there were one of those void friends, the alien friends from the void with the sort of, which we first encountered in, gosh, where was it? In one of these areas, in the Ainsel River well, I think, that there was a huge sort of chasm, and one of those friends was on the other side, and we saw messages over there, but we've still not found that particular location, so we appear to be missing a dungeon in the Altus Plateau. So anyways, that's on my list. I don't know if we'll get to that in this episode, but I just wanted to point out that that is something I'm aware of. And I don't know if we want to go to the Academy of Raya Lucaria thing too either, but like, apparently we're missing things. And because that was also associated with, oh right, yeah, it had to do with the seal in the Sellia hideaway. That in order to access the sealed area in Sellia hideaway, we need to progress Sellen's quest line, but in order to do that, we need to find an illusory wall at the Academy of Raya Lucaria. So you know what, we might as well go do that. Let's head there now. I actually went to the wrong side of grace, so I hope you don't mind me cutting that out. Okay, I'm not sure how much of this I'm actually going to keep in the episode. I feel quite silly. And I know I'm also, so I suppose additional notes I could add to my list is that, you know, we've sort of stopped caring about the paintings. And I do still, should make sure that I'm reading messages and whatnot. And I'm probably going to want to not rest at any sites of grace here. So that we can just clear everything out and go from there. But yeah, we are missing wherever that third turtle was in the Moonlight Altar. And so it's, you know, I didn't mention it just now because, like, I demonstrated already that I really don't know what the heck I'm doing there. So I don't know what good it would do for us to go back there, but you know, I suppose we might as well try at some point. But that's just one of at least 2 or 3 or 4. I know we can go up the ladder there, but that's a shortcut, so we should perhaps just continue on the normal path. So I should be especially cognizant of the need to roll into walls and pay attention to messages as well. Could use some HP restoration just in case. But yeah, so we're missing that one turtle. Gosh, I'm already thinking of just skipping this because I don't want to deal with all these zombie friends again. We're missing on the Moonlight Altar the solution to that turtle puzzle. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and assume there's probably no illusory walls in this segment here. Section of the level, I should say. So yeah, we do have to eventually, I suppose, go back to the Moonlight Altar, look for the solution to that puzzle. And we should also search for the other paintings oh gosh darn it, we've since unlocked. Enjoy that focus, friend. Joke's on you, I'm half asleep here. Don't really have any focus to be taken. There's no focus up for grabs here, friends. Thank you for the healing, though. I appreciate it. What the... Oh, you... Oh, yeah, we didn't... Okay, well, that's at least one thing we missed. Oh, stop it, doggo. Wow, okay, that was relatively simple. Ah, marionette soldier ashes. Ashen remains in which spirits yet dwell, used to summon the spirits of 2 marionette soldiers. Spirits of marionette soldiers created to serve a sorcerer. These marionettes are archers, each equipped with a pair of bows. On the verge of falling apart, they are ill-disciplined and attack without warning. Wonder if that's what the red eyes signify. That they're not disciplined. This friend also attacks immediately. Oh, someone just fell to their death. Rip friend. So yeah, I do wonder how many of these areas there are in the game where we've just totally missed things. I assume basically every area in the game is going to be like this. And obviously we won't have time to go back and redo every single area, but, you know, if you all let me know, like, hey, you missed something really important here, then, you know, I'll do my best to return there and see if we can't rectify that. So, something someone else pointed out is that mechanical friend at the bottom of this part of the level, that if you allow that friend to take you in, then it warps you somewhere. We have an Alabaster Lord friend here. Get wrecked. That friend will warp you somewhere. I can't remember where it was that they actually warped you, though. So maybe that's something we'll try out after we finish with this. But for now, I'd just like to proceed and look for this illusory wall. this elusive illusory wall. Oh no. That was close. Oh, sorry, friend. This is where we found Thops. There's Thops. Rip, friend. Is this it? Ah! Didn't expect victory. No. Gosh, I don't know. I completely forgot how to rate messages. Smithing Stone level 4. No, I'm just going to be rolling into everything. Nicola's Lily? Or Trina's Lily, pardon me. Are you joking with this? Olivnius Glintstone Crown. One of the Glintstone Crowns bestowed upon Raya Lucaria scholars whose pursuits were deemed worthy. Increases intelligence to the detriment of HP. The lineage of the Olivnius Conspectus began with the sorcerer Lusat and its adherents continue his study of meteors. Okay, I don't know if that's the thing we were looking for, but... I suppose that's a good start. So we'll look around a little bit more before going down to allow that friend to consume us. Or however it is you would describe what they do, to warp us somewhere else. And then maybe we'll put on the headpiece and go to Sellen and see if she has anything to say about that. Thanks, friends. Appreciate that. Very, very much. Whoa. Wow, we missed a ton here. My goodness. Comet. So, of course, we just learned that that friend whose headpiece we got is all about studying comets. One of the glintstone sorceries of the Academy of Raya Lucaria fires a great magical comet. This sorcery can be cast repeatedly and while in motion, charging enhances potency. The greatest of the Corollos Conspectus' sorceries that only a very few sorcerers have ever mastered. Corollos. Swordstone key, thank you. Ah, sleep. So again, another painting of Renola. Okay. So there's a whole network of like hidden crawl spaces in this place. That's eerie. Oh no, jars. Okay. Looks like they're sleeping though. Not doing a good job of being quiet. Oh gosh darn it. Graven School Talisman. Stop it, jar friends. I'm sorry. I should have known it was an ambush. A talisman depicting a school of graven mages, the nightmare of the Academy, raises potency of sorceries. The primeval current is a forbidden tradition of glintstone sorcery. To those who cleave its teachings, the act of collecting sorcerers to fashion them into the seeds of stars is but another path of scientific inquiry. Okay, that's interesting. Graven. Let's look that up. I know Craven is like someone who's cowardly. So what is a Graven? It's time for Fun with Definitions. Archaic meaning, to engrave an inscription or image on a surface. Marble graved with exquisite flower, human and animal forms, or to fix something indelibly in the mind. It's a verb. A school of graven mages. So they've been fixed indelibly or engraved on a surface. So all of these sorcerers have been engraved into this talisman. Is that? Yeah, that's a little bit dark. But yeah, this is Elden Ring, so I'm not quite sure what I was expecting there. And here's the shortcut exit. Okay. Oh, that scared the daylights out of me. You learning how to break dance there, friend? Okay, you know, I'm satisfied. I don't feel like there can't be that many more illusory walls, can there? I suppose we'll know if we go to Sellen and she just says, like, nothing, and nothing is new. So let's go see Sellen. Still one of my favorite gestures in the game.
There you are, my apprentice. Shall we commence the lesson?
Oh, okay.
What's this sorcery, my apprentice? Ah, then you have seen Master Azure. Master Azure was a founding Glintstone sorcerer, and my first teacher. A stern judge of men. But he must have seen something in you. You make us both proud.
Oh.
We can speak more later, my apprentice.
Well, thank you. Yeah, why don't you tell me your story? Again, sometimes this is us speaking, and then sometimes it's the NPC speaking. I really don't see the logic in... Yeah, anyways.
If you recall, I was exiled from the Academy of Raya Lucaria. It was for attempting to restore the primeval current of Glintstone sorcery. The toothless pedantry peddled by the Carian royal family can rot for all I care. I want Glintstone sorceries that open our minds, unbound by terrestrial taboos, no matter what we give in return. My apprentice, I presume nothing. Teacher and student are not bound to tread the same path. But hear me out, my apprentice. I need your help to restore the primeval current of Glintstone sorcery. Perhaps this is a journey we could take together.
Of course, friend. Yeah, absolutely.
Splendid. I thank you. This pleases me. It's been far too long since I found a fellow kindred spirit. You must have a fabulous teacher.
Indeed. So now this is her asking us a favor, presumably.
I need your help, my apprentice. Master Lusat is another founding Glintstone sorcerer. And like Master Azure, he was banished from the Academy. Now he languishes in prison somewhere. My apprentice, can you find Master Lusat? With this Glintstone key, you should be able to cross the boundary that encloses him.
Yeah, Sellian Sealbreaker. Okay, shout out to... He was the Faceman guy who pointed this out. Thank you.
I need him to restore the primeval current of Glintstone sorcery. He's nigh a child of the stars. Such is his body now. After his expulsion from the Academy, I heard that Master Lusat returned to his home, a place called Sellia in the eastern Caelid wilds. Thinking about it, I obtained the glintstone key I gave you from a Sellian sorcerer. It wouldn't be too much of a leap to suppose he's still cooped up nearby.
Okay, let's rezone and then speak with her again before we go and do anything.
My apprentice, give me a moment later. I have a favor to ask. The form you see before you is merely a projection. My body lies elsewhere, but the Academy's shackles prevent it being moved. My body is on the Weeping Peninsula at the southern tip of the lands between, imprisoned in the ruins just down from the Church of Marika, past the plain of the Wandering Mausoleum. Can you make the journey to my body? I have something that I can only trust with you.
So all this time we were just missing a couple items at the, I don't know which of the two items, or if it was just one of them, or both, that opened up all of this progression with her. But yeah, wow. Okay. Okay, let's go find her body first, I guess, then, and then we'll go to find Lusat in the Sellia hideaway. So, Weeping Peninsula, it was right here. So yeah, so the Academy is keeping her shackled. So it wasn't what's-his-face after all.
My apprentice, thank you for coming. These shackles take a toll on us all. There is something I need you to look after. My primal glintstone. A star has fallen, and my fortunes waver. Someone may come for my life, and so I entrust it with you. Myself.
Gosh darn it. You stupid marionette, gosh darn it. Okay, so her glintstone is in her chest cavity? Sellen's rip, friend. Sellen's primal glintstone. Oh, she's still alive, okay. Glintstone from within the Sorceress Sellen's body, seemingly half alive, blood vessels are visible within. In essence, a primal glintstone is a sorcerer's soul. If transplanted into a compatible new body after the original body dies, the sorcerer will rise again. My apprentice, do you think it distasteful? Okay, here we go, transhumanism. In essence, a primal glintstone is a sorcerer's soul. If transplanted into a compatible new body after their original body dies. Wow, okay. I'm almost out of time for this particular recording session, so I will have to have a think about that, but wow.
Thank you, my apprentice. This is my essence. Please, treat it with care.
Is she still alive? I was thinking that she was going to die and then we would bring her essence to the other Sellen, to her new body.
Treat it with care, what you hold.
Okay, will do. I'm surprised that that didn't kill her. Okay, let's go back to the other Sellen. Okay, I guess we have to go to the Sellia hideaway then. I hope we didn't screw this up by not doing that first. But I presume this leg of her questline would have to be the second leg of the questline, right? Like, because the first part only requires you to go to the Academy of Raya Lucaria and then the Weeping Peninsula. So, yeah, that was my thought process anyway. Well, let's go see. You know, I can't recall if we read the seal breaker. Glintstone key received from the Sorceress Sellen, capable of breaking the seal that keeps Master Lusat confined. Sellia, town of sorcery, can be found in Caelid. This key was said to have been found in the possession of a Sellian sorcerer. Alright. Still quite intrigued by the notion of the primal glintstone. But yeah. Now, we just have to remember where the heck to go from here. Whoops. Is this the right one? Yeah, I think so. Alright, well. Oops. Get wrecked. Okay. Finally, many episodes later. Used Selling Seal Breaker. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. I have a feeling we might need it. Ah, it's good stuff. Okay. Why is it always plump sort? In short, brief respite. Okay, so this friend looks just like Azure. So, presumably... Why is it always I failed? Presumably that has something to do with the sort of risks associated with messing with primeval things. Let's have a chat with them. Stars of Ruin. Legendary sorcery devised by Lusat, primeval sorcerer. Fires 12 dark shooting stars that pursue the target. This sorcery can be cast while in motion. Charging increases potency. When Lusat glimpsed into the primeval current, he beheld the final moments of a great star cluster. And upon seeing it, he too was broken. So, I'm trying to remember what sorcery we got from Azura. It was this one. So yeah, in both cases, the person who saw it, so it's kind of like an eldritch horror in the sense like you see it and it changes you, and you know, in this case, it broke Lusat, and it bewitched Azure. Okie dokie, very interesting stuff. So now, this person actually looks, they have a marble for a head for some reason, but they also look not unlike those friends we find in Leyndell, the Frosty the Snowman friends, as I sort of presumably erroneously referred to them. Okie dokes, I guess let's go back and chat with... Oh, we can finally mark that off our list. That's a really good feeling, actually. I still have the Bestial Sanctum on our list because, you know, I basically refuse to believe that we're done with the area, although I imagine... Now, I'm thinking, because my original working hypothesis, as I've mentioned, was that we would access the Crumbling Farum Azula area from Bestial Sanctum. But now I'm starting to think we'll probably access it from the Flame of Frenzy. So, yeah, anyways, I'm all over the place here. I apologize. Let's go back to speak with Sellia. Although, gosh darn it, she's not there anymore. Let's go double check. Nope. Alright. Is she still here? No, she's not here either. What the... Alright, well that's... terrible. This is similar to the situation we found ourselves in... with... What is her name? Gosh darn it, I apologize everyone. With Hyetta, where... You know, it's great that we advanced the quest line, but we did it late in the game, such that now I'm concerned about the possibility that we just might not be able to... We might not come across her in this sort of natural progression of the game and the story. Yeah, okay. I hope I'm wrong about that, though. Okay, this is not... Don't need that anymore. Should still check on Jarburg at some point. I have a list. Why am I not just using my list? 1 second. Right, we have to go to Sellia to search for a boss that we missed. Okay, let's advance the time to night. Because, obviously, there are many bosses in the game that only spawn when you come across them at night. So, my thought process is that, yeah, of course, it's possible we just missed the boss full stop, but we ought to be mindful of the possibility that the boss may have just spawned at night. Get out of here, Avianet friends. I will one-shot everyone in the town, most likely. Which may annoy some people, but does not annoy me. And yes, that was totally unnecessary. However, it gave me an opportunity to take a drink of coffee, and I'm okay with that. We've not checked in with Gowry for a while, I don't think. Oh, Caelid is really creepy at night. Oh, crud. Forgot about Gowry's doggo.
Welcome.
Okay, he doesn't have anything new. Ooh. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. We're good. Okay, where's the boss here? I do seem to recall being confused about where a seal was broken. There was a seal broken somewhere, and there were chests that opened up. But it's possible we missed the seal being opened up to a boss. These friends are absolutely everywhere. We should probably summon someone. Just because we can, so why not? Hey, Regret. Good to see you. Hello, Regret. Good to see you. Ah, aristocrat garb. High-quality garb adorned with fine golden embroidery. Travel attire worn by nobles in the capital, terribly faded and tattered. Abandoning their birthplace after the shattering, these undead wanderers are the pitiful product of unending life. So... yeah, I'm not sure I buy the idea that the undeadness is not canonical in this game. And that is, I think, another example of why I think it's reasonable to believe that it is accounted for in the story. So yeah, the person who informed me that I missed a boss here basically said, you know, look around in Sellia a little bit more closely. Look a bit more carefully, something like that. But like, what could I be missing? Because I feel like we got everything. Although, as I've conceded in the past, I'm not tremendous. Oh my goodness, okay. Oh man, I was just about to say, as I've conceded in the past, I'm not tremendous at exploring and, you know, finding things. And yeah, wow, dreadful, absolutely dreadful. Just a massive, massive fog gate that I somehow missed. Alrighty then, let's see what this has in store. Thanks for your help, Mimic Your Friend. Oh, no problem. Oh, crud. Ooh, Nox Swordstress and Monk. Wow, okay. Obviously, we're a bit over level for this area now. Nox Flowing Sword. I think we need to update our Flask of Wondrous Physic. Because we have it still set up for what's-his-face? Luminary Moog. The Omen, or not Luminary Moog, the Omen for Moog the Lord of Blood. A grim weapon wielded by swordsmen of the Eternal City. This shuttle has a blade as fine as a needle. Forged from the liquid metal of a silver tear, it is thoroughly tempered until hardened. Unique skill, Flowing Form, temporarily transforms armament into its liquid form, swaying the armament like a whip to perform a sweeping slice over a wide area. Okie dokes, oh. Let's have a rest. Chair Crypt of Sellia. Oh. Obviously just like the ones we found in the underground. Lusat's Glintstone Staff. Staff of the Primeval Sorcerer. Staff of the Primeval Glintstone Sorcerer Lusat. Only those who have glimpsed what lies beyond the wisdom of stone may wield it. Enhances power of all sorceries but consumes additional FP. What are the odds that the two things we missed both have to do with Mr. Lusat or Madame Lusat? Wasn't clear on whether Lusat was supposed to be a man or a woman or something else. Or someone else, I should say. Okie dokie. Very interesting stuff. Wow, I can't believe I missed that. Shout out to whoever left that comment. My apologies, I don't remember who it was. Okay, what's next on my list? Or should we go back to see if Sellia's back? Sellia. If Sellen is back. Probably not, but let's double check. Nope. Gosh darn it. Where the heck could she be? Sellen, that is. That sucks. Okay. Wow, you know, I had all these items on my list and I didn't think we would be able to resolve even like half of them. Although I suppose the last three, okay, so maybe I was right, because I still have Missed a Turtle in Moonlight Altar, Missed a Cave in Deeproot Depths, and Missed a Dungeon in Capital Outskirts. I don't know if I want to continue. Do I want to continue trying to do this stuff in this episode, or should I just leave it for the next episode? Yeah, you know what? We're like an hour plus probably into this episode. I'm not sure what the final time will be for the stuff that makes it into the episode. Ah, there's our beacon. Okay, thank you. So, you know, I think we should probably go back to where we were supposed to go, which was the Giant's Gravepost. So, yeah, let's head there now. So, you know what, just to make sure we don't forget all the things I need to go back and try to address, let's make sure they're on our list. Okay, Altar South, that's good. So that's for the turtles. Deep-rooted Depths, that is the next thing. I think it was probably the across the route, because again we could not find anything there. And then Capital Outskirts. So this one, yeah, I'm not entirely clear. on where a dungeon would be here, but like we've clearly missed something. Like there's a cave or something somewhere here, but I can't remember which dungeon we were in when we saw that falling star beast friend. So it's kind of hard to say, but maybe we'll just mark off the Altus tunnel as like an indicator, like, okay, it's, yeah, hopefully I remember. You never know. Certainly not with me. Okay, moving on then. So the particle effects here are obviously meant to hint at the fact that we have arrived at the Flame of Frenzy. Or sorry, not the Flame of Frenzy, the Flame of Ruin. I keep conflating those two. And I'm sure that will drive many people bonkers, so I apologize for that. Mountaintops of the Giants East, the remote, desolate eastern summit is the highest point in all of the lands between, overlooking even the Flame Peak to the south. That's not... This is what we were looking for, I think. Or no. No, never mind. What is the Flame Peak? Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. Because isn't the flame at the top of this? Yeah, maybe I'm misunderstanding what that's trying to say. So the protrusions coming out of these giants, so these giants are essentially becoming trees in a manner not unlike what we saw in Dark Souls 2. But the protrusions coming off the top look a lot like the things that the flame witches... Okay, I don't... Maybe not supposed to go up there. It looks a lot like the stuff the flame witches... That's probably a shortcut exit, or not a shortcut... Oh, yeah. It's a way of jumping down from up there. You can even see the gravestones there, so... Yeah, I wonder what's up there. Okay. Yeah, these protrusions here at the top, I want to say it's the weapons of the flame witches, fire witches, whatever they were called. But yeah, I wonder why that's happening. And so are these the legitimate giants? And then these are sort of like the... Gosh darn it. Again, this is the problem with me playing this game spaced out over months and months and months and months, is that I'll remember something that was mentioned in an item description, but just cannot remember where it came from or which item it was associated with, or when we read it, or really any of the pertinent details. But I do seem to recall reading somewhere that the giants we are sort of fighting in the world now are just sort of distant, not distant ancestors, but they're not the giants that once existed. They're much smaller and presumably not quite as formidable. My apologies, it's very early. I've not slept very much, so I have a very lazy tongue today. And so I apologize if my commentary is terrible because of it. It's now Saturday, July the 15th, the day after I started recording this episode. I hope you're all still having a fantastic day today. Yeah, I'm terrified of this area. But yeah, I think it's interesting that these particle effects only appear to show up here in this area, which is much closer to the Flame of Ruin than we've been up to this point. The sky is also red in the distance. I wonder what that's about. Oh, of course there are fingers here. Why wouldn't there be? Are one of these giants gonna wake up, aren't they? Keep using lock on, trying to lock onto that giant. Hello, giant friend. Why is it always arms? I wonder the same thing sometimes. Okay. Oh, that's got to be the boss, isn't it? The boss only has one arm. Oh, is it not a boss? Okay, did I just buff for no reason? No, gosh darn it. Wow. Not tremendous aim there, friend. I'd give you a hand, but you'd probably kill me with it. It's a terrible joke. Okay, I was absolutely convinced. Oh, gosh. Darn it. Another one of those fringe folk heroes' grave type places up ahead. So in case it wasn't already obvious, I'm trying to explore the secondary areas before we go to the what I would consider the primary area, the primary area, our final destination in the area, which is the Flame of Ruin, and not the Flame of Frenzy. I did not verbalize that, but that's what we're doing. So I hope you will forgive my meandering, because I'm not sure what leads where now, especially in this episode after we spent all that time having to go back and tie up loose ends and find things that we completely missed the first time around. I have that familiar sense of anxiety coming back of like, oh crud, I'm missing things, and you know, I need to obviously keep in mind and remind myself repeatedly that my build is named Regret for a reason. The war against the giants, champions battle, trolls betray, fire vanquished, the era of the Erd Tree begins. So we have heard about this war between the Erd Tree and the giants. Sorry, giant friend. Oh, you are. Gosh darn it. Oh gosh, this is very awkward. Oh, Sorry, giant friend. I guess, so to pick up on what I was saying previously, I suppose you could argue that that's not a giant, that's a troll. Even though obviously it's a new variant of the troll. Because it's like a Yeti troll or a snow troll or something. Whereas those we fought up to this point, just sort of plain trolls. I guess there were also, okay, so there are 3 different variants of the trolls then, at least that we've come across. So the snow troll, the like regular troll, as well as the stone digger trolls. So if you were being a bit uncharitable, you might describe them as reskins. Oh gosh darn it. I'm dreadful at horseback combat. I don't know what it is that you all find so magical and unmissable about it, because I find it good for sort of comedic value, but not for actual skillful fighting. Maybe that's just me. Okay, that appears to be all for that group of hands. Make sure we didn't miss anything here. Oh yeah, we have this trap here. Drawstring Holy Grease. Those friends are quite generous with their drops, the smithing stone drops. Oh gosh darn it, I can't believe it's another one of these areas. Wave trap, what is the trap here? Okay, so we have to jump across without none of these people die. What the... what the heck was that? Okay, I don't get it. Oh, that's what... gosh darn it. That really scared me. I was not expecting that. Okay, so that's the bridge where we found a whole bunch of fire witches earlier. Down there is obviously the consecrated snowfield. Can you see the hillock tree in the distance? Perhaps vaguely. No, not really, actually. Although, interestingly enough, I think, when was it? We were exploring, I think we were here or something. I think it was here. And we looked and we saw the Halec tree. At the time, obviously, I didn't know what it was, so I was just like, whoa, that's an interesting looking tree. So yeah, really quite enjoy that aspect of the game, as you all might imagine, because the game drops little hints letting you know about, or foreshadowing things that are coming, areas you're going to be going to, but I guess they drop little hints, but then they also sort of like drop anvils on your head in some instances, like the previews you get of different areas. So like Crumbling, Farum, Azula, another area you would have had a preview of would have been the Shifra River Well. If you had gone through one of the 4 belfries, the Night Sky Unceasing Belfry. So, I don't think those are really all that necessary, but they do that anyway. But I think it would be better if you just let the players figure it out for themselves and, like, yeah, anyways. But maybe that's just me. I have staked a claim and argued very forcefully for the idiosyncratic nature of experiencing these games and the fact that not everyone plays in the same way, nor should they. That FromSoft it provides a possibility space in which you can sort of do many, many things, and all of those things are valid, so far be it for me to argue to the contrary. Giant Conquering Hero's Grave. I'm sure this place won't be terrible at all. Okay, we have 140,000 runes. We need 206,000 to level up, so I think I might just level up. It's gonna take a minute though, so I hope you will all excuse me. Okay, that didn't take that long, actually. I can't remember what we said we were going to level next. I think it was Mind, Dex, and Intelligence in lockstep, maybe? I don't have a post-it note anymore with stats on it, which means that we achieved whatever I was hoping we would achieve. I have a series of post-it notes all over my desk, actually. Post-it notes to the right are for my Elden Ring playthrough. Post-it notes on my monitor to right in front of me are for personal things, and the post-it notes on my laptop to my left, my work laptop, are for work things. So post-it note central here. Flame, protect me. The most ancient of the Fire Monk's incantations creates a fire within that greatly increases fire damage negation. It is said that this incantation was used during the war against the giants long ago, during which it protected the champions of the Erd Tree. So I remember speaking way back. Oh yeah, so one of those fire witch friends, but the weapon doesn't look exactly as I was imagining, but perhaps I'm thinking of a different friend. Much earlier in the playthrough, I was on Sinclair Lore's channel to talk about Foucault and... That was weird. The way the friend just sort of popped into existence here. So this is another one of those shadow, and you have to reunify the friend with their shadow type puzzles, seemingly. Yeah. I was here to talk about Foucault and disciplinary power in the context of Bloodborne with Sinclair Lore, Sophie Pilbeam, and Redgrave. Wow, there's a lot of them. And sort of in that conversation, we had a brief digression about Elden Ring. Yeah, you can't hit these friends at all. My gosh, I don't know what I'm doing. Because obviously I knew that, but I thought I would try anyway. And one of the things that Sophie Pilbeam mentioned is that it's sort of a weird story in the sense that there are all these things that happen in the story, but like, or the things that have happened in the world that appear to have very little consequence on the story at large, like the broader story. And I'm often left wondering what she was referencing with that, or which of the various things that are happening in the world she was referencing. Or how all-encompassing that comment was. So obviously this has been true for as long as we've been sort of both doing analyses of FromSoft games on YouTube. But Sophie Pilbeam is light years more intelligent and attuned to the stories in these games than I am. She is, a genius as far as I'm concerned when it comes to understanding the story in these games. And, I'm just grateful to call her my friend and to be able to sort of ride her coattails as far as my understanding of these games is concerned. So this is like a tomb to the giants? Yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, anyway, so obviously I shouldn't measure myself against what is essentially an impossibly high standard for understanding the story in these games, but do wonder if I will actually come to a point where I understand what she was referencing. But if not, then obviously I can always just ask her, so. Fire Monk hood, greaves. Oh, that was it, okay. Mail hood of iron links covering a headband engraved with flames, attire of the Fire Monks. The Fire Monks are guardians of the flame of ruin, forbidden by the Erdtree and said to be kept high in the mountaintops of the giants. Black iron greaves featuring a flame motif, attire of the Fire Monks. The Fire Monks are guardians of flame. Okay, that's the same as the other one. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Wonder what that changes. Because there was sort of a light pattern that was being projected on the ceiling there. And you could see one of those friends. Those shadow friends. Shadow friends, I don't know what they're called. We were in that previous dungeon that had puzzles like this one. Rosis' Light, was it? Okay, we're above here, so yeah, this friend here. So that plugged this hole, but what would that accomplish? Unless there's a bunch of shadow friends here. Oh yeah, okay. I see that now. Shadow friends. Ooh. Cranial vessel candle stand, okay. Thought I could get them to fall into the hole. Ah, there we go, okay. Makes sense. Whoops. Sorry, friend. That was good. Candle stand used in worship of Beric, the most hallowed monk prelate of the Giant's Flame. Concerned over the lazy arrogance with which the monks treated the flame, Beric severed his own head as a lesson to the others, intending it be used as a candle stand. Oh, okay. His faith yet smolders from within the cranial vessel. Yeah, that's quite the lesson to teach to others, I guess. Unique skill, Surge of Faith. Set the flames of Biric's faith ablaze in the cranial vessel, then raise it aloft to rain down fireballs in all directions. Repeated inputs will continue to raise the armament aloft, continuing the attack. Forked Greatsword, oddly shaped greatsword wielded by imps. The gently undulating fork blade is known as an imp's tongue and causes blood loss. I think we've read that previously. Okay. So I think we've finished up here. It's just that ambush and the item. Actually, let's see what that looks like. Wow, that's a lot bigger than I was expecting. Okay, that's pretty cool. That would have been more cool if, it would have been much more cool if it actually buffed the weapon also. But perhaps that would make it just too overpowered. Okay, keep your eyes peeled for things off the elevator. Okay, it appears the elevator is just an elevator. That's good. Appreciate that. Okay, nothing underneath it either. Giant ahead. In short, are you ready? Oh. There's gotta be stuff down here too, no? Presumably. It's possible that will just lead us back to the start of the area or something like that. Over here, giant friend. Thank you. Oh, that was a bit delayed. Frames. I'm just gonna run out of stamina if I hadn't got hit there. Oh, here we. Oh, this is a dreadful fight. In short, I was not ready. Okay, so now... No, that is not the beginning of the area. This is somewhere we've not been. The fancy-looking fire witch. So, after we finish with the boss, we have to make a point of jumping down there. I believe there will be a stake of Marika right there. Beautiful. Let's make sure it's active. It is. Still don't know what caused the stake of Marika to deactivate that one time. I was a bit curious. Okay, please tell me this is not a tree spirit, friend. Please no tree spirit. I imagine it's going to be a giant of some sort, but let's see. Oh, Ancient Hero of Zamor. Sorry, friend. Spent a bit too much time buffing there. Zamor curved sword, mask, armor, and bracelets and leg wraps, so everything. Weapon wielded by the Knights of Zamor, who earned great renown during the war against the Giants. In apparent devotion to winter, the curved blade is styled after an icy wind and imbued with a powerful frost effect. Unique skill, Zamor Ice Storm. Plunge the curved sword into the ground, building power before unleashing a freezing storm that batters the surroundings. Mask worn by Knights of Zamor, hailed as heroes in the war against the Giants. These long-lived warriors, clad in biting, freezing winds, are said to have been mortal enemies of the fire giants since time immemorial. So they were on the side of the Erdtree then, or no? Or like a different side entirely? Okay, so rather than returning to the entrance, let's head back. To these fire witches over here. Okay, this dungeon wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be, so I'm okay to eat crow when necessary. This is one such instance. Ouch. Spin to win. Well played, friend. Nice delayed attack. Oh. Okay, this is not going well so far. Okay, that's the exact attack that, or unique skill associated with that weapon. Gosh darn it. Wow, okay. We're not doing well here. I'm so used to relying on staggering enemies with Greatsword that when you come across an enemy that has enough poise, it really is jarring, because just don't know what to do. Giant seal. Sacred seal depicting the one-eyed god of the fire giants, adorned with braids of red hair. Sacred seal wielded by fire monks and prelates. This catalyst enhances giant flame incantations. Someone noted in a comment. Oh, yeah. There have been a number of comments critiquing my sort of basic approach to the mechanics of the game and not taking advantage of all the things the game has to offer. And this was one example offered, which was the seal, which scales with strength. So obviously, even though we have 30 faith, to have this scale with strength would actually be quite good, because we have 60 strength, so great grave glovewort. So one of these will presumably lead us to a lift. It's up before down though, so let's see if this one leads up. Nope, this one also leads down, but there's a ladder, so let's... Oh gosh, darn it, I thought we were done with this area. Okay, so this is the other place we could have descended. Okay, here's the lift that we were seeking. We need to activate Rosis's light. Okay. Is there no point in doing that? That person said didn't expect futility. Me neither, friend. But it does seem futile. Okay. Alright, well that appears to be it for this. Let's head back to the site of Graves. Wow, we went a fair distance underground here. So it's interesting that we're underneath the Zamor ruins and we fought an ancient Hero of Zamor there, so that kind of makes sense. Alrighty then. I suppose they shouldn't have bothered sending this elevator back up, but all good. Suppose we also could have warped to the Giant's Gravepost. Though I do want to make sure we're not missing anything around here, which I don't think we are. But still, let's double check. Because there could very well be another dungeon somewhere around here. Just tremendous striking visuals in this place. I've been saying this all along, so that should not come as a surprise to anyone, but absolutely wonderful. Silly hand. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to fight them on a horseback, because that would just be a terrible idea. So we're just going to run. Okay, that works. Although, excuse me, there does not appear to be anywhere to go from here, so what does this message say? No item. Okay. Sorry, hand friend. Okay, we've been here. Yeah, has the sky always looked red like that in the distance? Or is it just in this area, the Giant's Gravepost area, where that starts happening? It wouldn't be the first time. It certainly would not be the first time in a FromSoft game where skybox changes based on where you are. It's something they do quite often, actually. Hands walking around everywhere here. We did it! Okay, very interesting. So someone in a comment pointed out that, and you know, my apologies again, this entire playthrough I've been referencing comments without knowing who actually left them. And the reason for that is simply that, you know, unlike in Let's Talk lore, oh, so this This giant's arm fell off. Unlike in Let's Talk Lore, where I'm specifically, you know, identifying and saving comments to read. In this series, what I've been doing is more just, I read every comment as it comes in. And it just sort of becomes embedded in my consciousness in a way that, you know, I don't always know, okay, I'm going to read this comment on. It's just something that comes up over the course of the playthrough. And then I think, oh, someone left a comment about that. And yeah, so, you know, you'll have to accept my apologies. Wherever possible, I have been trying to credit people who have left helpful comments that I talk about. And I will continue to do that, but did we already get the item that was here? I think we did. Unless I'm looking... Oh, arterial leaf, okay. Which, yeah, I suppose it's precious if you're crafting, which, much to the chagrin of many people, we're not really crafting. So my apologies, everyone. What are their messages here? Sorry, giant friend. Wow, I don't know how we didn't get hit there. Now enjoy those iframes. I assume I picked up an item there. Oh. What is this? It's like a puff of smoke in the air for some reason. I'm very confused. Ah, house. Good one. So the giants had very human-like faces. Again, unlike the trolls, they just appear to be very, very large humans. Whereas the trolls appear to be something else. Short strike ran through. All the friends we initially met in Caelid here. Thankfully, we're a bit better equipped to handle them now than we were when we first went to Caelid. That was obviously a disaster. Okay, I am currently watching Aurelia of Astora during her nap time. And she is stirring, so if you see my player character suddenly stop moving and me dying, that's because I had to run and tend to her. So my apologies in advance, or if I just suddenly save quit without explanation, that's what's happening. Gosh, the sound of all the pitter-patter of the gosh darn fingers everywhere, excuse me, is making me, giving me the heebie-jeebies. I'm scared. Not actually sure what to equip. Oh yeah. Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman is probably... that's what we had before. I don't think we need the HP regen in the open world areas. That was very strange. Bird was like clipping through the floor. Okay, this is a unique corpse. I won't. Oh, hello. Is it a bird gauntlet? It's a unique corpse model there of one of the fire witches. That's a fake repostable state. Which, again, I've heard people argue, or some have argued in the comments, that, you know, well, it is something, you know, there are birds who like fiend injuries and stuff like that, so therefore, like, and, you know, they don't think it's sort of a cheap trick what these birds do, but again, I go back to my point, which was, I don't think the sound you hear when someone is in a repulsible state, that's not, excuse me, it's not meant to be a diegetic sound. It's not meant to be a sound that exists actually in the world. It's meant to be the developers indicating to you directly to the player, okay, you can repose now. That sound right there. Because otherwise there would be no reason for that sound to be the same. Say when you parry an enemy and you successfully land a parry, you hear that same sound. So why would you hear that sound when successfully parrying an enemy, and also when an enemy becomes open and susceptible to an attack? This giant is fighting someone, it sounds like. Over there, this troll, I should say. So yeah, anyways, I think it's interesting, the fact that the bird pretends to be, you know, in a repostable state, but like, there's no way the bird could actually mimic that sound. Like, I think that's nonsense. Okay, I think we should help the giant friend. At least even out the odds a little bit. It's so difficult to get around to the spot where you're actually supposed to repose them. Because you just end up getting caught underneath him. Get him, troll friend. Oh. Is this a sleeping one? Yeah, it looks like it is, so maybe we'll wake them up. And then they'll come help their friend. Wishful thinking, perhaps. Because it looks like they're just coming after us. Oh no. Come this way, friend. Your compatriot is in trouble. Let's see. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, get stomped, bird. Ooh, synchronized attack. Very nice, friends. Well done. We really flipped the script on that bird. That bird thought, oh yeah, it's 2-on-1. We're gonna get this giant. It's gonna be no problem. And they're like, oh no, it's 2-on-1 against me suddenly. What happened? Although, friend. I guess they're not used to working together. Of course, we could have killed this bird a long time ago, but I would argue this is actually much more satisfying. They do not do a lot of damage. It's convenient that because when they hit you, they do a lot of damage, but when they hit the other NPCs, it's like, oh, it is just a tiny scratch. This bird should not be giving you so much trouble, friends. Should we help them? Well done, friends. See what they do now. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh, another bird fight. Okay. Okay, friends. One of your friends is in trouble. Come this way. No. Oh, gosh darn it. Come with me. Come with me. Let's go. Over this way. Well, if Aurelia of Astora wakes up, I'm going to be very sad because we're going to lose all of our progress here. And all the friends are going to go back to their original spawn points. There we go. Oh no, one of them is backing up for some reason. This way, friend. What if we just get a whole crew of trolls, snow trolls? Oh, what? You don't see me? I'm right here. Uh-oh. Beat by bloody finger Okina. No, missed. Missed my parry. Not that time. Get him, giant friends. I got a battle of my own going on here, but I'll come support you. Give you moral support after this. GG, friend. Okay, it looks like that third troll was just not in the mood. Yeah, he's still just standing there. Rivers of Blood and Okina Mask. Weapon of Okina, swordsman of the land from the land of reeds, a cursed weapon that has felled countless men. When Mohg, the Lord of Blood, first felt Okina's sword and madness upon his flesh, he had a proposal to offer Okina the life of a demon whose thirst would never go unsated. Unique skill, Corpse Piler, forms a blade of cursed blood for repeated interweaving successive attacks. Follow up with an additional input for further successive attacks. Oh, friend. Did you get bored of the fight with the The bird, but the bird's still alive. There's a giant ghostly scarab on that hill there. There we go. Is he still aggroed onto me? What the heck? Okay, I think we should just sneak by here. Looks like we have Church of Marika. Indeed. Church of Repose. We had a something of Repose previously. Don't recall what it was, though. A wooden mast that depicts an old man baring his teeth. The source of this... Oh, how the heck do you pronounce this? Sobriquet? Of the great swordsman of the land of reeds raises dexterity as it lowers focus. The more he sharpened his mind, the more the absurdities of the world came into stark relief, and so Okina renounced it all and rose to a higher plane. There was only himself, his katana, and its mastery. Before long, Okina became a demon of a swordsman. Again, this is another one of those things that I'm sure Sophie Pilbeam would be able to explain what the significance of this is without much effort. So shout out to you, Sophie, if you're out there watching or listening to this. Sacred Tier. So, hopefully, we might as well just, these bird fights just go on forever. Might as well have a rest and see if Melina has anything to say to us. No, nothing from Melina, seemingly. But I guess technically this is not a Church of Marika, even though there is a statue of Marika here. So that's interesting. As within Caelid, there are skulls sort of manifesting from roots, seemingly. Or visages, I suppose they were called. It was the visage of whoever that person was. Yeah, much clearer from this perspective. With the bird right in its eye socket, that's incredible, but also quite frightening and uncool. So I assume I'll be able to climb up there and get that scarab. I did note also there were some fire slugs over here, but I don't have any need to bother them. I've done enough to slugs in my lifetime, as you all know. Wonder if there's any significance to these giant trees not having arms. There's a spirit spring there. Where the heck does that lead? Get wrecked. There's gonna be a cave there or something, isn't there? More hands. Okay, I suppose suppose we can, might as well finish off these birds and see what's inside the eye socket, because there's bound to be, oh yeah, I see a legendary item. I figured there's bound to be an item here that's good, given how heavily guarded it is. Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone, very nice. That's a Titanite slab, I believe. Some massive teeth this skull has. Oh, oh come on. Oh gosh, darn it. This is bad, friends. We need assistance from the giants. Gosh darn you. I'm somehow learning these sounds from the developers. Oh, I'm stuck. This is a terrible place to have a fight. Oh my goodness. Simply dreadful. Okay, I think one of them just fell to their death for some reason. Simply dreadful from a gameplay perspective. Like, whose idea? We'll put a whole bunch of birds up in this spot where there's a bunch of little, holes and stuff, so that, the birds don't know how to attack. You don't know how to attack. You just sort of mash R1, mash circle, and then it'll be fun. It'll be great. Miyazaki said, "Oh, that's a great idea. I love it. Maybe put some boluses up there also." Makes no sense. I apologize. These stupid jokes. Good times. Okay, is there even any way for me to reach the eye socket? So close to the Flame of Ruin, and yet so far. Yeah, I don't know that we can even reach the eye socket. Oh my gosh, if I died there, I would have been quite upset. Well, we got the legendary item, so I think that's really what matters. Yeah, I don't think we can reach it. Okay, so needed to go down in the Spirit Spring over here. A shout out to Aurelia of Astora for sleeping. Because otherwise, yeah. Are you joking? There's nothing actually here? Well, color me fooled by those messages. What is the point of this Spirit Spring? That was weird. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Ash of War Troll's Roar. Troll's Roar. Look into the distance and let out an intense roar, generating a powerful shockwave that blows back surrounding foes. Follow up with a strong attack to slam the armament down. So, yeah. Suppose we could equip that. It is equipable on colossal swords, but we currently have this. Which I've completely forgotten that we had. And basically have not used it. So, there's that. Okay, so where are the eye sockets? Because again, there was a bird in one of the eye sockets. Why is it always death? Praise the ranged battle. Good one. Yeah, I feel like that's a recipe for falling death. Yeah, I don't think I ever completed my thought about the comments and, started apologizing about not always reading out or identifying people who left specific comments. And the comment I had in mind, excuse me, is someone explained that how falling damage works, which is, it's not based on momentum. And that's what always sort of left me confused, I think, was, I was being cheeky, obviously, using Torrent's double jump in an attempt to sort of alleviate some of the momentum such that, the force of my fall is not so severe. And so in my mind, it made sense that I wouldn't die, but someone said basically, no, it's just straight up distance. So it doesn't matter if you double jump on Torrent or not. If you exceed a certain distance with your fall, then yeah, you're not going to survive it. And I was like, okay, fair enough, that makes sense. So again, apologies to whomever it was that left a comment clarifying that. Excuse me. I see another site of grace over there. Apologies to whoever left that comment, because obviously I've since sort of taken that on board, but I don't remember who actually left that comment. Sorry, friend. Somber Smithing Stone level 8. Some of my least favorite friends in this area. The birds and the hands. I have a feeling this is going to be a very long episode. Because my combined recording, I think at this point, is at about 2.5 hours. I'll probably cut half an hour, 45 minutes of that, because it's just me roaming around looking for things, but we'll see. Foot of the Forge. But who knows, often when... the hand on the top of the head there. Often when I think, oh gosh, this is going to be a long episode, there's so much to do here, it ends up, oh, okay, that's helpful. Wow, is this a bigger hand than normal? It looks like it is, actually. Oh gosh darn you. It's okay. So I guess this is the equivalent of one of the other hands, but from that of a giant. So if the tiny hands are sort of maybe from a human or, from a child or something, the large hands are from fully grown adult. And these hands are from giants. Dark and gruesome, but oh gosh darn you. Got greedy. It's one more hit. Thank you. Brutal. FTB's bone. Okay, so just trying to make sure that I think we have sort of done everything. I think that's the bird and giant fighting. Indeed, that's the beginning of the area, essentially. Yeah, okay. And we have Guidance of Grace leading us, of course, towards the Flame of Ruin, because that is the prescribed path for us to burn. Oh my gosh, another face there in the That's frightening in the trench here. It is a prescribed path. Burning the thorns, entering the Erd Tree. They did not want us to utilize the Flame of Frenzy, or at least Melina did not want us to do that. Yeah, so there's that path leading there. Then there's a second path leading back over. Okay, interesting. Whoa. Okay. That's a troll archer? Oh no, they're throwing the pots. Sorry, slug friend. Could be worse, you could be in a can of pop. Feel kind of bad for anyone who, for one reason or another, jumps into this series very late. Like, someone who's looking for, you know, advice on how to get from point A to point B in a particular area. I don't know what would compel someone to watch episode 61 of a blind playthrough without watching the at least most of what came before it. But you know, anyone who comes into this very late is going to be quite confused at all these references. What is this guy talking about? Slugs? He's talking about ants? Is this the Nature Channel, or is this an Elden Ring playthrough? Oh gosh darn, I got so greedy. Okay, it paid off in the end. Okay, we can summon someone, but only up here for some reason. Where's the border? Right there. Okay, you all know what that means. Lieutenant, we need you. Oh, beautiful positioning. Well done, friend. Oh, gosh darn it. Knocked her back. Okay, that's bad. Okay, she's still hitting him. That's good. Oh, come on. That really hurts, those pots. Gosh darn it. Come on, one more. Oh, it's bad. His friend is angry now. Thank you, Lieutenant. Save me. Uh-oh. Thank goodness for Lieutenant. Again, another commenter left a comment suggesting that Lieutenant can actually ride the large wolves, though the wolves I've been referring to as dire wolves, which makes sense because you think about Lobo, that I'm reasonably certain Lieutenant, there's going to be some starlight shards here, that Lieutenant rode on the back of Lobo in the same way that we find Albinarch women in the Consecrated Snowfield riding on the top of Torrent, riding on the top of massive wolves there. So I don't know what context in which you could find a wolf like that and have Lieutenant ride the wolf, but yeah, they noted that they're not sure if it's a glitch or if it was intended, because apparently Lieutenant attacks the wolf as she's riding it, which is hilarious. But did this friend just fall? Or did she kill? I'm a bit confused. But yeah, so apparently Lieutenant attacks the wolf who she's riding, which is pretty funny. So, you know, it's possible that maybe in an earlier version of the game, Lieutenant was able to do that. Something's aggroed to us. Yes. That Lieutenant was able to do that. And they've just sort of left the code in there for one reason or another. But yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't fix that, if that is indeed the case. But yeah, shout out to whoever left that comment, even though, again, apologies, I don't remember exactly who it was. Sorry, giant friend. Oh. He's like, stuff your stories in a shack, mister. Oh, gosh darn it. Oh, that was weird. Friend. Oh no, she... I think this is the pot throwing friend. Lieutenant's just pelting him with arrows to such a degree that he just can't throw pots, I guess? Or did she somehow separate him from his source of pots? Whatever the case, Lieutenant, you are doing a tremendous job. Keep it up, friend. It would be nice if I could look at my map. So obviously the Flame of Ruin is right there. However, I don't want to go there just yet because we're not done with all this stuff down here. However, I can't go down there just yet because it will despawn Lieutenant. So... after she's done taking care of pot friend. Yeah, okay, there we go. Now let's go. Thank you, Lieutenant. You're the best. Oh, okay, that was potentially dangerous. Okay, so now this way we have not explored. This is above where the start of the area is. Oh, crud. Gosh darn it. That was stupid. I rolled too early. Sometimes it's better to do a charged R2 rather than a critical attack. I don't know if that was one of those instances, though. Golden Rune level 10. Yeah, that's the Site of Grace right at the start of the area. So I thought we should just make sure that there is nothing significant over here. So there's bound to be something down there. Oh gosh darn giant hands. Oh, just like one frame. Dodge that by just like one frame there, I think. Okay, I gotta heal. One more hit. Oh, gosh darn it. Greedy. Oh, we're almost at 200,000 runes. Okay, I've sort of lost my bearings here. Okay, so I should go down there. So in other words, there's another giant hand. I'm very scared. Precious item, but try a high road, so let's do it. Okay, I'm not sure. Maybe we avoided a spawn by doing that? The bloodstains. Oh gosh, darn fingers. Oh my god, his Handapalooza. Handapalooza 2023. Come to the Giants Mountaintops. We got hands and hands and hands and hands and fingers. Lots of fingers. Oh gosh darn it. Okay, we're all gonna die. We're gonna die. There's a massive ambush. Wow, okay. I was not expecting to have some... That one hand looked like it was about to slip off, but then the game saved it at the last second. Oh, that was very, very dicey. Extremely dicey. Another ambush. Ah, okay. Sometimes it doesn't let you get off torrent. It's annoying. There we go. Oh, okay. Well, took it a second to wake up. Maybe this one is a troll's hand. And the other ones are giant's hands. And these are just like big human hands. I don't know. Crimson Whirl Bubble Tear. The heck is that? The resulting concoction converts incoming damage into recovered HP instead. However, physical damage cannot be converted. What the heck? This effect is only brief and will quickly expire. Okay, that's, wow. No, I relate a lot of things to Dragon Ball Z. It's Castle Sol there, I believe. Sol? Or no, Castle Sol is in the distance, actually. I don't know what that was. I feel like it was just an underwhelming dungeon, but maybe I'm remembering that incorrectly. Okay, so now from here... we can just go down. Is this where those gravestones were? Yeah, indeed. Okay. So no point in doing that. Let's just go back in this direction. Yeah, so that's what that immediately brings to mind for me is it Android 15? The Android Saga? Where they had these like holes in their hands where they just absorbed energy, and Android 15 was facing off against Vegeta, I think, would have been Goku, I think. He fired up a massive Kamehameha, and the android just like just salivating at the thought of it, and then lifted up his hands and just fully absorbed the blast. Took all the energy associated with it. Which, yeah, basically what this thing here does. Except that this is not a permanent fixture on your hands, it's a temporary wondrous physic effect. So I don't know exactly how useful that would be. So in order to get over to this spot, we need to cross here first, I think. But first we gotta make sure that there's nothing we're missing over here. Which there may very well be. Someone's taking damage. Oh, that's the trolls and the birds fighting, indeed. Oh, I have a feeling climbing up there would be a very bad idea. Okay, maybe I should stop stalling and just get on with it. Unless, can we get up there? Actually, might be able to. So, again, we have a situation akin to what we found in Grail's Dragon Barrel. Excuse me. Gosh, I don't know why I'm losing my voice. Wherein you have two bridges leading somewhere. An upper bridge and a lower bridge. And in this case, a chain link bridge. Where, you know, there's seemingly no reason for there to be two of them. But I have no doubt that there is a reason, we just don't know about it yet. Just like we thought, oh gosh, there's going to be a... okay, is this going to be a boss or something? And the other one we figured that, oh, wow. Okay, so that's a real giant, it looks like. That's frightening. Are they holding that thing above their head? Is they gonna, like, behead themselves or something, like we read in that item description? Oh. We're walled off. So, that's a boss fight. It has to be. Because we cannot... Okay. Never mind. I was gonna say, because you can see there's like a wall of mist here. So I thought it was sort of enclosing us in this area. So, well, okay, it is a boss fog. So that is a boss. So if we had entered from the lower area, okay, you know, again, we saw this in Mount Gelmir, the one Falling Star Beast, where there were two entrances to what was essentially a boss room. Okay, I'm thinking about thumbnail possibilities. Well, regret, you need to get cleaned up, friend. Oh yeah, I'll do it right after this. There were two entrances to the boss room. And one was just, hey, this is an entrance where it just sort of thrusts you into it and it's a surprise. And then the second entrance was, okay, you're climbing up a ladder. And so the first entrance was a spirit spring, second entrance was a ladder. Time for bird's eye telescope. You saying there's a telescope up here somewhere? Or I guess they mean that's the highest point in the world, so, you know, you would... It's nice to use it from up there, I don't know. But yeah, so interesting, just this idea of there being multiple entrances to a boss room. I don't really know if there's any consequence to that, but it's definitely a thing. Can you exit the boss fog from this direction, I wonder? Probably not. No. You could exit the boss fog. I believe it was only in the first encounter with Seath the Scaleless in Dark Souls 1. Okay, who's this? Oh, gosh darn it. Oh, and Aurelia of Astora may be up. So, we might have to... Oh, I don't have a HUD. Gosh darn. Fire Giant, okay. Might have to start this boss fight again if she wakes up. Oh, terrible. Okay. This is going to be a bit of a struggle. So yeah, these giants are absolutely massive. My depth perception is certainly nothing to write home about. It's nothing compared to this friend's damage resistance. To be like a Shadow of the Colossus type thing where we're supposed to climb up on top of him. Oh, or I mean, there had to be some sort of gimmick to it. So we gotta break the shackles seemingly. That's bad. that's a cool attack. Ouch. Gosh darn it. I think I learned my lesson. That was going to be bad. Could not get away on time. So it might be a good idea to use some fire resistance. We're stacking physical damage resistance at this point in time, but fire resistance might be a better idea. Although he's certainly also doing physical damage, so who knows. Ask me how we rolled through that. I actually do not know. Well done with your pathfinding there, friend. Attacking the wrong leg. Ankle, whatever. Uh-oh. Come on. Uh-oh. Okay, that's not good. Okay. I was gonna say, it looks like they have a mouth. Uh-oh. In their abdomen. I had no idea how prescient that observation, even though I didn't verbalize it, would be. I wonder what their weak point is. Yeah, I didn't see the nose. I think that sort of just emerged. Oh, gosh darn it. Almost there. Oh, terrible. I know I shouldn't be attacking when I'm out of stamina, but could not resist. That's bad. missing left, right, and center. I assume this is one of those situations where it's probably beneficial to use Torrent. As far as we can, but... so close. One more hit. Yes! That was a cool boss fight. I enjoyed that. Oh, very slow and plodding, but yeah. Remembrance of the Fire Giant. Remembrance of the Fire Giant hewn into the Erd Tree. The power of its namesake can be unlocked by the Finger Reader. Alternatively, it can be used to gain a great bounty of runes. The Fire Giant is a survivor of the war against the Giants. Upon realizing the flames of their forge would never die, Queen Marika marked him with a curse. O trifling giant, mayest thou tend thy flame for eternity. So this whole spot here is just one massive boss room, I suppose. Which makes sense given that that was certainly a massive boss. So as I mentioned earlier, it's Saturday, July the 15th. Even though I started recording this episode yesterday, and it's now about 3 p.m. Started recording today. There's a site of grace there. Started recording today at around 7 a.m. And just released episode 45 at about noon. And I've been informed that apparently in that episode I ran past Millicent twice. Which, yeah, I can't say that surprises me, but my goodness, that really is terrible. Because, yeah, it's just like the Sellen thing where, like, unless you retrace all of your steps, you know, it's impossible. Well, it's not impossible, but very difficult to know where the heck you're supposed to go for the next leg of their questline unless you look it up, which obviously I'm not going to do. So, you know, I'm not really sure what to do. Perhaps we'll just save that for New Game Plus. Make a list of all the questlines we've messed up and, yeah, address that then. Fire Giant. Oh, wait. Make sure that there's no dialogue here from Melina. No. Oh, wait. Rest over and over again. We should level up. So 15. Do we want to put anything into Dex? Maybe we'll just get mined up to 20 for now. And then go from there. Might as well use some additional runes. In case anyone was wondering, I try to keep one of every type of a thing that I have just so we can compare it. Use it as a basis for comparison for things. But that means, of course, then not typically able to use all of them. And you end up having to use your lower level souls to get what you need. So just keep going down the line until we get to 212. So excuse me for a minute. This will take a minute. Alrighty. And we should check our wondrous physics. So right now we have... Okay, actually I think that's a good combo. Boost stamina recovery and damage negation. So yeah, I think that's good. Thank you. Alrighty, let us proceed to the Flame of Ruin. I keep wanting to call it the Flame of Frenzy. I don't know why. Obviously, I understand that's something different. What do all these say? Praise the bug. I did it. I did it. Wow, look at this. Reminiscent, as I'm sure I mentioned when we first came to this area, of the Crown of the Iron King DLC, Dark Souls 2. Where, yeah, there was... You would go across massive chains that were used as a... Okay. Perhaps I'll just go on foot from here. What the... Okay. So, is that igneous rock? But it looks a bit different. Looks almost like fungus. Thanks for the rating, friends. Let's see how we're doing for our ratings. Ladder ahead, by the way, ladder. That one, protect that one now. 24. Protect this one also. Fingers ahead. Skeleton ahead, therefore don't give up. 55-3. Old Codger ahead, but Vision's a friend. 21. Wow, we are doing quite well. The only one that's not doing amazingly is Why Is It Always Edge? By the way, Boggle Bog. But you know, we're still positive, so I will count that as victory. So we're going to want to circle the exterior here. Site of Grace. I'm thinking before we proceed, should we go back to the Roundtable Hold and see whether there are any items? Well, there are obviously going to be items associated with that remembrance, but to read the descriptions. Oh, okay. Another one of those glitches, and that people are seeing messages there and then walking off the edge because of it. Forge of the Giants. We can speak with Melina here.
I have long observed the lands between. This world is in dire need of repair and death. Indiscriminate. Are you prepared to commit a cardinal sin?
Okay, I'm assuming this isn't like the... We're still quite a ways away from having to make an irreversible decision, I would think. Oh, the last time I backed up the save, gosh darn it, was a while back, was before we went to fight Millennia, I think. Gosh darn it, okay, I'm ready, whatever.
Very well. Let my hand rest upon you. For but a moment.
Sorry, I thought I would get a thumbnail image there. Okay, so she's put us to sleep. So is she Saint Trina or something? So she's roused the flame, seemingly.
O Erd Tree, you shall burn. burn for the sake of the new Lord. Thank you for guiding me here.
Pretty sure you guided us here. Aspects of this song sound very familiar in terms of it sounds just like the song you heard at the menu screen.
Alongside flame shall
Wow.
one day meet the road of destined death. Goodbye.
Are we in Crumbling Farum, Azula? Oh my god, we are, of course. Oh no. Oh, that's dreadful. Alrighty then. Yep. Crumbling Farum, Azula. Okay. We need a Site of Grace. So that we can get the heck on out of here. I assume if we were to die at this point, we'd probably just respawn at the start of the area. Smithing stone level 8. In other words, upgrade your weapons. You're gonna need it here. Anything over on this side? Probably not. Can't summon Torrent here, as you might expect. Upgrade your weapons and level up. Yep. Yeah, if those beastmen we fought earlier are any indication, this place is gonna be an absolute horror show. It's gonna be dreadful, likely overcast. Something about this tornado doesn't quite look right. Chaos. Okay, I'll give you the give you a good rating for the gesture with the spin. Oh gosh, darn you! Beastmen everywhere. Okay, where's the Site of Grace at though? That's what I'd like to know. Whoa, that's very close to falling off, Aegon. Okay, they're eating these. Okay, thankfully, either they're not as strong as the beastmen we fought previously, or we are better equipped to handle them now, so probably a little bit of both. Sorry, friends. Beastman's curved sword. Oh, gosh darn it. Old Fang. Okay. I felt therefore let there be introspection sitting in the corner by himself. That's fair. Wasn't gonna rate you, but oh gosh, yeah, the frame rate when looking at all the stuff that's happening there is not ideal. Sorry, friend. Oh, we have that curved sword we need to read. Thank you, hyper armor. curved sword forged of dull iron wielded by the beastman of Farum Azula. The blade is heavy but well balanced, comparatively easy to wield for the damage it delivers. Thank you, friend. Just what I was wondering. Alrighty, wow. We finally made it to Farum Azula. I wonder how many areas there are left. There's gotta be at least a few. Crumbling Beast Grave. The primal glintstone shudders. It seems Sellen's body has died. So in other words, we failed the quest. Also, this whole area is now basically embered. Dark Soul. Oh, Spirit Tuner friend, what's going on? For a second I thought that was Millicent.
Take a look around. The Roundtable Hold is burned. Razed to the ground. Don't worry. I don't blame you. I'll continue spirit tuning just the same as before, which is why I need your help persuading Master Hugh to leave. His roots are so knotted in this place. He won't last much longer if he stays here. His shackles are broken. He's a free man now. It's high time he put the Round Table behind him.
Alrighty then. Yes, I will absolutely persuade him. Hopefully he listens. Oh, we should at some point upgrade some more ashes. I might just do that off camera. Okay, perhaps we should have... Oh. This is the finger speaking. You will bring me Kentucky Fried Chicken. Oh, okay. Sure, Fingers. I guess I do have a couple of follow-up... What are follow-up questions? I mean, up until this point, you've only asked for vegetarian dishes and suddenly you want a meat dish and just... Was it corporate sponsorship? No, well, I guess it was kind of corporate sponsorship. Okay, did they... KFC sponsor something in the world? No, but I'm told that they're finger-licking good. You know, those chickens. Oh, okay, so you just want someone to lick you? Maybe. Okay, that's it. That's the last joke I have on my list. Oh, man, okay.
You've done it, I see. What use do you have for me now? I am a finger reader. I will remain here until their dialogue ends and the fingers speak again. Do as you please. Take whatever course seems most worthy to you. Now you may go.
In terms of... until their dialogue ends and the fingers speak again, I assume that means... Because I believe Enya mentioned that the fingers were conversing with the greater will. So I suppose they're still in conference.
You'd force this tired old crone to work, even now. Harder taskmaster have I known.
Sorry, friend. I just want to read some item descriptions. I apologize. Hefty whip woven from the flame-red hair of a fire giant. Every giant is red of hair, and Radagon was said to have despised his own red locks. Perhaps that was a curse of their kind. So Radagon's a giant? Unique skill Flame Dance. Imbue the red braid with the giant's flame and lash out in a wide range with a series of agile swings. one of the incantations that draws directly from the power of the fire giants raises a series of flame pillars around the caster. Charging further increases the number of flame pillars. The fire giants borrowed from the power of a fell god, and still they were defeated. Yet their failure released them from their solitary curse to serve as keepers of the flame for eternity. Okay. What do we have in terms of equipment? Nothing, it looks like. We haven't read yet.
Now, go forth. Do what you believe is right.
So, we're not letting the words of the fingers guide us anymore. Enya really is flexible as far as what she thinks we ought to be doing. Hi, Hugh, friend. We should probably find a new home for you.
I knew you'd be back. Lay out your arms. Let's get smithing. Weren't you listening? As I've always said, you came to challenge the demigods and their god, to slay them. And as long as you do, I will always smith your weapons. It is what I wish. To smith a weapon for you to slay a god.
Yeah, but friend, I think you've already done that. This weapon is plenty fine the way it is. I'm not sure I need anything else. Yeah, I suppose we could upgrade our bow one more level. Or maybe we'll just wait for the finger seal. Finger seal's probably more important at this point, so we'll leave that for now. Okay, so he's not going anywhere then. Well, let's just make sure no one else is here. Fia's obviously not here. The old precious item. Indeed. I don't think that was there before. So this must be a third version of this area. Inefelilu, I think it's time to go.
In this ash.
Oh my goodness, are you joking?
It reminds me of...
She's still going on about... Oh my goodness, okay. Yeah, I don't think anything else going on down here. Curious as to what else in the world has changed.
You burned the Erd tree, didn't you? Then the round table is soon to follow. No need to fret about that. The Roundtable Hold served to put a tarnish upon the throne of Elden Lord. And if the Erd tree needed to burn for that to happen, then the Round Table must go as well. Well, I wonder what comes next. If he continues his slumber within the cocoon, all would be well. But perhaps it would be safer to destroy
Ooh.
it. Nicola is the one thing that remains a mystery to me.
And to me. Okay, so is it possible to destroy the cocoon?
Ah, so the secret medallion I'd expect to find. But with
Okay.
My information a secret. You are a true.
Oh, wait, what? Pretty sure we already told them that, didn't we?
I'll stay at the round table for a time. I must learn all that can be taken from this place and sear it into my memory. How could I call myself the all-knowing if I did any less. The pursuit of knowledge is without end. For knowledge...
I was going to say, so how can you possibly be the all-knowing? Because
I maintain the mantle of all-knowing.
But that doesn't make any sense.
Perhaps the same could be said of guidance. Who's to say whether we'll remain who we are once the fight is finished? What do you think? As one who aspires to become Elden Lord?
Because... yeah... if you're all-knowing, you know that you don't know anything, basically. Like, it's kind of paradoxical in that sense, but yeah.
Well, what is it now? Well, what is it now?
Alright. It's definitely exhausted his dialogue. I'm very confused. I thought we gave him all the intel. Black Flame's Protection. A black flame incantation of the Godskin Apostles. Summons black fire within, increasing physical damage negation. However, sacred flasks and other forms of HP restoration are impaired. The Apostles were all embraced by the glum-eyed Queen, and the black flame was their armor within. Weird that he would have that. Okay, I think we need to start the next episode with an NPC roundup. Because I imagine there is going to be a lot of quest lines that will now have advanced because the state of the world has changed. But first, let's go like basically back to the beginning. Let's go to the first step and see what the world looks like from there. Whoa. Yeah, it's definitely on fire. Okay. I just want to see from a couple different angles. Maybe, yeah, this would actually be a tremendous place to see it. Divine Tower of East Altus. Or West Altus. Let's go to West Altus. I guess it hasn't changed all that much. You can see the sort of branches at the top burning, but let's go to the Elden throne, or no, let's start. Yeah, let's start at the Queen's Bedchamber. Yeah, and then after we see if there's anything going on here, I think that's going to do it. Because, you know, I thought the whole point of doing this was to open up, was to burn that. But that is still very much there. And the only thing that's really changed is that you see this sort of canopy of the Erdtree burning. I'm not sure what the correct term is to describe it. Wow, someone moved poor, what's his face's body? Gosh darn it. Margit. Rip friend, sorry. When we killed him, he was actually over there. But I thought the whole point of us getting them was to burn through these thorns, or was that the point of the... Was that the point of the Flame of Frenzy? I don't know. Maybe that comes later. Alright, well, I suppose that's as good a place as any other to end this, so I think in the next episode, well, Okay, I suppose that's fitting. I wanted to end the episode on the throne, but yeah. I guess we're not the true lord after all. So in the next episode, we'll start with an NPC roundup, and then we'll probably proceed to Crumbling Farum Azula. So thank you all very, very much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.